Something made me smile. We're Birmingham City, right? And, we have this fantastic owners now who come over from America and they tell us we're going to spend £2 to £3 billion on your club. Ask me some questions, he said. And someone talked about, why have we got pink bibs on our substitute? But, Blues fans, they've listened because last night against Cardiff City, the bibs were white. But I just found that a little bit sort of, that's typically Birmingham City and asking a question like that,
Even Wagner was like, I don't really know what to say to that one.
So welcome back to Smallest Alliance FC. Now, recently, Birmingham City have hosted a open house at St.Andrews and Knighthead Park where Tom Wagner, Gary Cook and the team had the opportunity to outline the vision for Knighthead for Birmingham City over the coming years. And it is absolutely staggering, some of the things that they were telling us. And in this video, myself and Matt are going to look at some of the things that they have promised for the club and what their vision for the future is, and really try to sort of assess how exciting this is for the club itself and for the fans. So I'm just going to go straight over to Matt and ask him really the question. So what's your thoughts on what was said at the open house?
So I'm so excited with what I heard from Tom Wagner. I think this club has a brilliant future ahead. And let's give the credit, I think, to Tom Wagner and Knighthead that they deserve during this video. And I know you've got a list that you sort of want to read off in terms of, the highlights, I guess, of what that open house entailed. But just one thing before we do get into it, which I really loved and they started with, I unfortunately never got to see Trevor Francis play. He wasn't my generation. He was your generation. I saw him as a manager and I still remember him pushing for the playoffs, a classic moment with AJ at the Cardiff Millennium Stadium when he missed the penalty with the hug in the arm.
Yeah.
So really iconic part of our club, a legend.
Yeah.
And I know you've had the privilege, Dad, of actually seeing him in person down at St.Andrews. But the fact we're putting a mural up at St.Andrews for Trevor Francis was just brilliant to hear. And, Gary Cook started off with that as part of his presentation. And, I'm thrilled to hear that. But let's get into the main bulk of the video, Dad. And
I thought it was a statue, actually.
So that's what I meant. Sorry, a statue.
Yeah. I was going to say it's not a mural. It's actually a statue. So they're going to honour him. And I think that's the right thing to do. He's our greatest ever player, and it's a real fitting tribute that I think he well deserves. Imagine that. I'm sure that it'll all be moved to the new stadium when this happens, which we're just about to talk about. So let's go on to the open house. Now, obviously, there's lots of videos out there about what happened at the open house, and we're not going to go and regurgitate absolutely everything that was discussed, but I am going to give you some headlines about what was said by Tom Wagner, Gary Cook, and the team in relation to their vision, and it is amazing. It really is exciting. So exciting that they're going to build. They've already purchased the land. Big tick. So that's straight away. That's significant on a lot of levels. But it tells us that they've bought the land because they're actually going to do this.
They're willing to take action.
It's happening. It's happening. And I know a lot of fans from other clubs are giving us loads of stick at the moment about you can't do this. It won't be affordable and all these types of other rubbish.
You talking about that club from Aston?
I'm talking about a club that we don't like to talk about. just down the road and who are basically very jealous. So basically they're going to build a sports quarter. So it's not just a ground. So the whole piece of land is going to be a sports quarter, and Tom Wagner discussed that in terms of the stadium, the infrastructure, the training pitches, the women's academy, and everything that will be there, along with he called it sort of an entertainment quarter as well. So that's really, really exciting. Interesting as well, they're talking about spending between £2 and £3 billion pounds on the whole thing. And very interestingly as well, he actually said he wants the club to be in there within 5 years.
Yeah. And on the video, I said a 10 to 15-year goal. And fair play to you, Dad. You said 5. Did you say 5 as well?
I said 5 to 7 years. Stop it.
I genuinely, again, naivety on my point of view in terms of construction, I guess. I had no idea it could even be done in that amount of time.
Yeah, and it's good because obviously they want it done as quickly as possible. They also talked about the fact that before they bought Birmingham City, which we didn't know, they'd already identified the Wales site as a big part of the whole future. So that was very interesting as well, which tells us that they weren't just thinking about the club itself in terms initially. They were thinking about the wider context of what they want to achieve. And he was talking about all sorts of different things, Tom Wagner, in terms of his vision for the club and how they're going to make this happen and how they're serious about making this happen. He's also talked about there's lots of what he called inbound inquiries for people who want to partner with Birmingham City in terms of what's going to be going on in that quarter. But it's so exciting. He talked as well. He mentioned like a 62,000 capacity, but he didn't say that was fixed. He said he wants a big stadium, but 62,000 was the number that he mentioned. It may or may not be that, but depending upon planning permission. So it's really exciting times in terms of the club, the infrastructure, the stadium. Yeah. So I'll get your reaction to those type of things first. So there are other things that were mentioned at the open house as well.
I was going to say, am I okay to mention some of the smaller stuff and then circle back onto the big thing for? So
you can do, because I was going to come on to that next, but that's fine. Let's do it all in one go then. And you can.
I think so, because obviously the stadium's taking the limelight. Everyone's really excited about it. So before we go down the rabbit hole of all the excitement, I think we should maybe circle back around on the smaller things and come back. So a couple of things I really noticed. So what I'll do is I'll quickly list them and then we'll do a back and forth. So all the under 21s and under 18s got their first professional contract last Friday. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Love that. Imagine what that means for the families. Imagine what that means for the community, and having an academy that's willing to be that dedicated to its youngsters. And me and you, that on several videos, have spoken about homegrown talent and nurturing and holding on to them. Bellingham as a prime example. Really key. 12.5 million invested in the training pitches to make them exactly like Knighthead Park. Brilliant. There's two. I don't think they're fully done, but there's two in the works. And they're on their way. Continuing the relationship with Nike, we're going to get a custom kit next year. Catering, upgrading the food and the beer. Huge cheer on that
that's a
one.
major one for us.
And me and you were talking at the stadium last night about potentially getting the training a little bit more, and we know there's quality beer waiting for us.
If they produce or provide us with good beer and good food, we'll get to the ground early, because we spend our money outside the ground otherwise.
Absolutely.
Why not spend it in the club? Brilliant.
100%. They said there's big investments coming. There's money to spend in the summer. Brilliant. Ticket prices won't be rising to the feared levels that some people think, because they're going to rely on revenue at the club. Brilliant. He faced questions about Eustace and Rooney, which I thought was really interesting. But again, we can circle back to that in a little bit. And lots of fan experience things have been mentioned, like the theatre outside the Carp, play areas, a five-a-side pitch, PlayStation areas, all these different things. So don't get me wrong, it was a very American presentation, concentrating on revenue and all these different things. But I loved it, making Birmingham City a beacon for the city, helping the local economy, making sure people spend time and money at the club. And I want to get your immediate reaction on this, Dad, because he said Birmingham City this year have been the highest producing revenue championship team. Can you believe that?
Outside of the ones that got the parachute payments.
Sorry, yes, but that's still staggering.
I can't figure that. I don't know. I didn't know that, and I don't know how that's happened. Well, obviously I know it's happened. It's happened through lots of hard work with Gary Cook and the team, in terms of them trying to sort of generate commercial partners and get the revenue in that. But that is really actually exciting, believe it or not, for a club like Birmingham City, who are still, as we speak, struggling championship club, to have the highest revenue apart from the parachute payment teams is absolutely staggering, really. And I think that just shows you the commitment that both Knighthead, headed by Tom Wagner, and Gary Cook and the team have got to make this happen is absolutely staggering. But there's lots of things that you mentioned there that we could dissect all day.
Exactly.
But
they're kind of the snapshot headlines that I took away from the open house. I could have missed some. Apologies, Blues fans. There's plenty of channels and content out there where they've listed everything, but for me, they were the biggies, which are going to have a big impact on our club moving forward.
One final sort of thing to wrap up what was said at the open house, which is significant. He said that if the worst happens and we get relegated to League One, nothing changes.
He said there'll be a hit to the revenue in terms of TV rights.
In terms of nothing changes in terms of their plans to move this forward.
Exactly.
So yeah, of course there'll be a revenue difference, but it's really, really exciting as a Blues fan. And I after the open house, I was buzzing. I was literally.
I was emotional.
I think a lot of Blues fans were, and to have this after all the years of neglect that this fan base has had, and I'm talking years and years of neglect. To have this happen to us, it's almost like you're in a dream, and it's not real. And I think that's the issue that Tom Wagner and Gary Cook and the team are going to have with the Blues fan base. It's going to take us a little while to adjust to this, because we've been so used to many years of being let down and disappointed that it's going to take a little while for the fan base to really, all of us, sign up to this, to really believe. Truly believe that this is actually happening to our club. And it's very emotional, it's very emotional to think that this is our club, and the club that we love is now got an exceptionally bright future. But I say there's that time of, getting the crowds back. They'll come. Tom Wagner actually said as well, very, very significantly, that he knows and I think this might have been in a TV interview, not in the open house, that for Birmingham City to fill a big stadium, they've got to produce what he calls a product on the pitch that our fans will keep coming back to watch. And that tells us that they're going to invest in the team. Now, if that's in League One next season, we have to talk about that because where we are currently at the moment, as we record this video, second bottom of the Championship with 4 games to go. So in quite a precarious position. It's not over yet. We know that. We get that. But if the worst happens, it means that the type of players that we might attract to League One are not going to be the type of quality that will be in the Championship. But do you know what?
Look at Ipswich.
But look at Ipswich. But I'm not disheartened in any way by the fact the confidence is given me that whatever happens, they're not walking away from this. They're investing
behind the scenes. They're doing everything they can.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're the highest grossing revenue team in the Championship outside of the parachute payments shows what they must be doing behind closed doors. Because I had no idea. Apparently, the undefeated partnership's been massive. Different elements around the stadium in terms of revenue, like the pop-up stands and the fan zones have been massive as well. And they keep making these little moves behind the scenes, which actually they have huge significance for. And they're just they're genius, aren't they? At the bigger picture. And that's what I got from this was, don't get me wrong, the short term's important. Of course we want to stay in the Championship, but the thing I got about it was think big, think 5 years, 10 years, think Man City, think where that club was in the 90s and where it is now, long-term vision. And again, I don't know whether you picked up on this, Dad, but he was mentioning things again like competing with YouTube and Apple, Netflix and the streaming services. He goes, he wants to capture people's attention. And, the whole idea around the theatre and the amphitheatre in front of the Kop is, if England games are being played, we could play it there and get a community of Blues fans in there watching an England game, all these different things. And, people are spending money then at the bars that are going to Birmingham City, better players on the pitch.
Yeah.
So they're connecting these dots. I don't think a lot of Blues fans see, including me. And they're just going to turn us into... I feel like they're going to turn us into a machine.
I think also as well, we have to talk about, which is quite amusing, the reaction from fans from other teams. I'm not just talking about that team down the road. I'm talking about generally. Almost like taking the mick out of us, saying this is never going to happen. This, you can't even fill your current stadium, which we know that's correct. Let's be honest. But they're if you look, this is the here and now. This is a team that's been in decline for many, many years, that's struggling in the Championship. So our fan base at the moment is, is not obviously all coming to the stadium as we want them to. But then which team would if a team was struggling and what we've had as well? So, we're getting ridiculed about you can't do this and you can't do that and this isn't going to happen. And we have certain team, the team down the road, where
short-sighted,
where you've got their fans panicking so much now that they're actually drawing random circles around Google Maps. So we can have this piece of land on that piece of land.
I think it's houses that people live in.
I find it absolutely staggering. So I think that they're obviously, they'd never admit that they're concerned because they've got that arrogance about them, but it's just really interesting. I've just stood back, and just chuckled to myself, thinking, "Oh my word, you don't even respond, just embarrassing yourselves." But this shows us the significant step that's been allowed to be made for our club, that's going to stand us up against what Tom Wagner wants us to be, one of the best clubs. Not just in the UK, but in the world in the future. But that takes time. It's not at the moment. Yeah, of course, you look at us at the moment. We're not in the best place as a football team, but that will change. And that's why I'm so confident now moving forward that our owners have got this massive vision that they want to fulfill for this club, our club.
I know.
Staggering.
It is staggering. I mean, everything I heard at the open house was just filled me with joy and the smile on my face. I was beaming as I was listening to it because I had the open house on my iPad and I was doing a bit of work on the other. And I just kept stopping doing my work and I just kept looking, thinking, I can't believe what's happening. And I don't know how you envision this because Wagner keeps talking about not just a stadium but a community and a what's the term he's referring to it as, like
the sports quarter.
The sports quarter. Yeah. So in my mind, I envision this to be sort of like a hybrid of sort of Resorts World and like the Man City training ground camp that they've got. So it's kind of going to be a city in a city. And I mentioned this on the previous video. So we're going to have the stadium, we're going to have the training facilities in and around, but we're also going to have bars, restaurants, different things. Because he mentioned, didn't he, about there was a joke about pitch and putt or the mini golf that we play over here and stuff, and he couldn't get his head around the mini golf and stuff like that. So it's going to be an entertainment hub for the Blues, but for the country as well. People are going to come here on HS2. People are going to come from London. People are going to come from all parts of the country and spend money here. It's going to be a place to go eat food and have beer and. Oh, I'm just so excited.
I thought something made me smile. We're Birmingham City, right? And we have this fantastic owners now who come over from America and they tell us we're going to spend £2 to £3 billion on your club. Ask me some questions, he said. And someone talked about why have we got pink bibs? on our substitute. But, Blues fans, they've listened because last night against Cardiff City, the bibs were white. But I just found that a little bit sort of, that's typically Birmingham City and asking a question like that,
Even Wagner was like, I don't really know what to say to that one. But fair play to the Blues fans. They pressed him on Rooney. They pressed him on Eustace. They pressed him on Eustace.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong, there's some fantastic questions out there. I just found that one particularly, from my point, that was particularly amusing for me.
I must admit, I kind of stopped my work and was like, was that a serious question? You've got a billionaire in the room talking about Blues. You've asked him about the purple pink bibs. But overall it was absolutely fantastic, and I can't thank Tom Wagner and Knighthead enough for everything they're doing for our club behind the scenes. We've had a rubbish 12 years, 13 years now. So I
don't know what you feel, Matt, as well, but I can't wait for this season to be over in terms of on the playing side of things, because it's been awful in terms of the roller coaster. That in fact it's been mainly a downhill roller coaster for various reasons. We know that certain things have happened, but I just think there's a complete reset happening that's going to happen in the summer, because we've got 10 players out of contract, 5 loan players, which will probably go back to their parent clubs. So it's basically a complete clean out, and I think that we'll start to now see a better quality of player and style of play that we'll be able to now create from the start of this summer. But this vision that they've shared with us about what they're going to I'm going to be honest, it's far beyond anything I'd ever think I'd see in my lifetime at this club.
Same.
I'm absolutely shocked, really, by what they presented to us, and I just can't believe it's Birmingham City this is happening to.
100%. And you know what? Credit where credit's due with Wagner. Someone mentioned about the Eustace and the Rooney thing, and his question was, he's learned his mistake, and he said to never deliberately put a pause on positive momentum. Again, I could have butchered that quote. Don't ridicule me in the comments. Something like that. So I think he openly now puts his hands up and says that was a mistake. However, when you look at the future of this club, the money they're invested, everything they're doing in terms of the under-21s, the investment, the money, the catering, I get the impression they really care about this club. They want to push it forward, and
I'm excited.
I'm so excited.
I'm excited. I'm excited about next season. If the worst happens and we do get relegated, I'm still excited about next season, because I know now we've got owners that are going to drive for perfection in absolutely everything, and they're going to expect it off the players as well. So it's a real bright future, and what was presented to us was absolutely staggering. So any final comments for you before I conclude?
No, just because I'm on my laptop here, I've just got basically bullet points of what they've said that they're going to do and promise and what they've already done. I look at it in awe. I just cannot believe that my football club that we've been following, you've been following it longer than me. I started in the 90s, first game in 96, 97, and we've had some good times and some bad times, but the past 12 years in particular have been painful. It's been painful to be a Blues fan. And what I really loved in the open house is one man said, you're changing the paradigm of Birmingham City in the context of kids are going to be proud to be Birmingham City supporters again. He goes, on the playgrounds in the past 12 years, kids have denied almost being a Blues fan or haven't had pride in this club. To me, everything they're doing is making us proud again to be Birmingham City supporters, and this city, it always has been anyway, but it's even more going to be blue as we move forward in the next 10 to 15 years. I think you're
absolutely right. And what do you think, Birmingham City supporters? I mean, I think that's a silly question in terms of what do you think. Of course, we know what you think about what the plans that have been put forward to us are. And I'd also say as well, a bit of advice really for Birmingham City supporters: don't get strung up or tied up with the reaction of fans from other teams. Let them have their fun. Let them have their time. Let them ridicule us because of where we are at the moment in our league position. But I promise you that that is very, very short term in what they'll be able to do for us and our club. The way that this club is moving forward now is going to put us in a really, really good position, and we will have our time. As Matt says, I think the tide is now turning for this club. The future's blue, definitely. Thank you, Tom Wagner. Thank you, Knighthead. Thank you, Gary Cook, as well. I think you need to have credit as well for what you've done for this club. In terms of the hard work that we know that you're putting in behind the scenes, and I know that there are various quarters that will criticise in certain areas for certain decisions that will be made, but we can't argue that this club now is on a trajectory that's in an upward direction. That's thanks to all of your hard work. Love to know what you hear, Birmingham. Love to hear what you think, Birmingham City supporters, about what your thoughts are in terms of the whole club, really, in terms of the way things are changing. Pop a comment below and let us know what your thoughts are. And Of course, if you did like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to follow us on our social media channels, and you'll see the handles popping up on the screen right now for our X account and for our Instagram account. And also, as well, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, make sure that you click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future content on Birmingham City. We have a really exciting summer coming up, and myself and Matt will be producing content over the summer as things happen, so make sure you don't miss any of that. And myself and Matt will see you all on the next video.